Hey everyone, we're Art and Joanna. We left behind a normal life, built this expedition truck with our own hands, and pointed it south. For nearly 2 years now, this truck has been our full-time home. It's carried us from the forests of British Columbia all the way to the beaches of Mexico. In this video, we're sharing our honest thoughts on the build, the good, the bad, and everything we do differently.
Well guys, we spent 2 years of living in this truck and here's everything that went wrong. We're gonna talk about everything that we would do differently. We've got tons of questions about it, so let's talk about it. First thing we're gonna talk about is, have we had any problems with the truck? Why certain things we did that we did? Things we would have changed if we were to do it again. And what we absolutely love and would do over and over and over again. So this truck, just a backstory, if you're new here, this is a 1997 Stewart & Stevenson ex-military truck. So it is almost 30 years old. When we purchased this truck, it had almost 17,000 miles. Yes, it sounds low, however, unknown how many hours are on this truck. What problems have we had with this truck? Last year, traveling in Baja, we left our rock lights on without supplementing the power draw to the main truck batteries. We killed our batteries. So essentially that's one problem we've had, and that was 100% our fault. I should have been watching that, but I didn't realize that each of these rock lights is like 16 watts or something like that, and there's 12 of them. The next issue we've had, and I haven't really looked into what is going on because I just blocked it off, was on the travel down here this year in the Nevada desert, we blew, I believe, our heater core. We just started getting steam getting into the cab. I stopped instantly, quickly jumped outside, turned off the coolant flow into the cab, and I haven't looked at it. So that has probably something to do with the age of the truck. I will probably have to either get it repaired or get a custom solution made at some point. However, I'm just gonna leave it for now because it's nice and warm and you don't need heat out in Mexico. Why we built it the way we did. We've had tons of questions why the stairs facing the front. Why didn't you put the stairs facing the back? Because, you know, when you open the door and all this stuff. So the biggest reason we did it that way was because we can fold away the stairs and the whole deck altogether. If we put the stairs on the opposite side, we wouldn't be able to close the deck. Also, the higher risk is if the stairs for some reason jumped off or fell off of the mount, they wouldn't rip off the whole deck being built like this versus being close to the tire. The tire would absolutely rip everything off. That is the biggest question we get, and yes, it is somewhat uncomfortable. We've learned to live with it. Number two, why do we put our AC mini split exterior unit where we put it? What the manufacturer requirements are for spacing. Lots of people will put their units on the front or the rear of the truck, super close to the actual motorhome, and it does not meet required spacing for ventilation. You're susceptible to dust. People say, well, you're susceptible to dust too, because we've been living in this truck for 2 years, and that AC mini split stays squeaky clean at all times. I clean it once in a trip maybe, and no, it doesn't get caked with mud. A lot of people are questioning, well, you're gonna destroy it from rocks. Guys, you're not wheeling an 11-ton truck down the Rubicon Trail. It's not gonna happen. If that's your dream is not gonna work. These trucks are not designed to go down trails like that. If you're gonna go do crazy stuff with your trucks, you're gonna destroy them. Honestly, for where our spacing is, we are about maybe 35, maybe 40 inches from the ground where the mini split could potentially get hit. And honestly, you're hitting your drive shafts and everything else before you're gonna destroy that mini split. Next thing, the interior layout. Why we have done what we did, bunk bed, dinette, why we didn't do a huge standalone fridge or dedicated 12-volt fridge. I had a fridge, number one, but it was initially always in the plan to use a residential style, or they call it a beer fridge, and they're very inexpensive and they work very well. If you go 12-volt, you're gonna draw way more power. If that fridge breaks down outside of the United States, you're screwed. You're not gonna get a 12-volt fridge in Mexico. Mexico is one of the easiest countries still to get. The further south you go from here, the worse supply becomes. Simple things like that have become why we did that. Second thing, we have a fridge, or you can make it a fridge or freezer, whatever, unit in the back of the rig. So we use it as a freezer. and we have all our meats and everything like that. We have more than 2 months worth of meat supply back there, so it's perfect for us. The bunk beds, there's obviously ups and downs to why we designed our unit this way. We just have a dinette. We don't have a couch. Some people will put a couch in. We did bunk beds because we have a child. It kind of works for us. I hate the idea of setting up every single day and putting down every single morning. I think, in my opinion, that is the biggest pain in your butt, and you're gonna hate it when you have to do it every single day. It's difficult enough to do this lifestyle with children that it would just make it much worse having to set up and take down every single day. Leading us to the next point, exterior paint. Is there paint on the truck? So we painted the cab, but we have not painted or wrapped or done anything to the aluminum exterior. One big reason is some people absolutely love it. That's a monster Cybertruck, which I don't want to be associated, but whatever. It is extremely difficult to get paint sticking to bare aluminum. You need to prime it very well. You need to use very expensive primers. You need to do everything correctly. And even then, you brush up against a tree and you just nick that paint and give it a little bit of moisture and that paint will start peeling. We've met many travelers along the way that have painted and said, we wish we wouldn't have. So what we might do is potentially wrap it in the future. I don't know. It's not in the budget right now. For now, we're just gonna use an aluminum cleaner, clean up all the streaks, because after living in it for 2 years and obviously building in all that, you do acquire streaks on bare aluminum. That is normal. For us, this setup works amazing. However, it might not be for everyone. And that leads us into the point of what we have changed and what we will change. Number one, these trucks do come with heavy duty suspension. However, it is not heavy duty enough, especially these M1079 trucks. They are cargo truck. They're not like the M1079s. The M1078s have a lighter rear leaf pack, and that causes for a little bit of suspension sag when you do load it up. As much as we are still about 1,500 pounds below our max weight or allowance for off-road use. We have added something called Timbrins. This company is based out of Canada, our home country. They offer a product called Timbrins. A Timbrin is essentially a similar thing to an airbag, except for it does not carry air. And why that was important for me is the placement of where these are, simplicity of install, plus with air ride trucks, you're already plagued with a lot of issues. You have potential leaks and all this and that. However, these Timbrins are set and forget. We've ran them for, I guess we're down here, so we're maybe 4,000 kilometers now, maybe a little bit more. We've tried them off-road. It has been the absolute game changer for us. The truck doesn't rock. Last year, you'd go down an off-road trail and all your cabinets would be open because all your stuff's flying out. This year, we haven't had that problem at all. And we've been taking some rougher roads without really thinking, oh, is there gonna be, a jar of salsa spilt on the floor? Because we had that last year. That's one thing we changed. Another thing that we absolutely thought it was mandatory, we did prepare the truck to have this, and that was a washing machine. If you're traveling in Mexico, typically, guys, the laundry mats are not off the main stretch. They are a little bit into town, and being 12 foot tall, it kind of sucks driving these trucks around. So we added a washer, and that has been absolutely amazing, especially because, the little guy, he loves to get into things and get himself super, clean. I think it has already paid off. Here in our area, if you go to San Carlos, you're paying 340 pesos. You can't do it yourself. Guaymas, you have to go down these streets that are from, the early 1800s or mid 1800s. So it's too tight. And yeah, it's just been amazing. We can stay down on the beach as long as we have water. We just kick on the washer, boom, it's done in, half an hour, 45 minutes, and that's kind of it. What are some things that we want to add? I want to add an awning. It keeps the heat off the truck. I could be relaxing right now under my awning. I can't do that right now. I'm just kind of like dodging the sun. Right now I'm just dying because it's so hot and humid, but that's okay. That might be a potential future thing that we're gonna add. I'm kind of working through the logistics of everything right now. Yeah, that's one future add that we'd absolutely love to add to the truck. If I was to build this truck differently, here's a couple things that I would change during the build process? I think number one, I would change the dovetail. We don't stick out as far after seeing some of these European rigs and all that. We could have done either a smaller dovetail because you don't have to worry about the angle as much, or just made a straight box. And that would have gave us more space, simplified the build process. Believe it or not, welding all that dovetail section, it likes to twist and turn. So when you're welding all that, you have to be mindful. There's not much use for it. Another thing would be, I would have spray foamed the whole entire truck. That may have maybe added a little bit of rigidity to the panels directly in the sunlight. The truck, obviously the aluminum moves. It's still fine because of the gauge of aluminum that I used. It doesn't twist like, you know, like a tin can. It would add a little bit of rigidity, and also the time. It took forever to cut all the little sections of rigid foam. Just for simplicity, I would do spray foam next time. I wouldn't actually change anything about the fabrication. Some people disagree on doing steel. However, it's a big thing in the European manufacturers that some European manufacturers still use steel. And the biggest thing is the cost versus weight savings. On a truck like this, 300 pounds does not matter. This truck doesn't care about weight. It is designed to hold weight. That's one thing. Some will say corrosion. If you didn't know, aluminum corrodes too. And if you will build everything on aluminum and think it'll last forever, if aluminum gets moisture into a section, it'll corrode faster than steel. Steel will kind of maybe not look pretty, but might last 20 to 30 years. Aluminum will disintegrate. You can make, you know, a fair point on both sides, but if I was to build it again, I would use the same materials, maybe just do a few tweaks and possibly do a 6x6. That would be pretty cool. Here are some things that we absolutely love about this truck. Number one being, we have so much storage. Lots of people complain about where do you put this and where do you put that? We absolutely have so much storage that we actually don't know where to put stuff. We literally carry junk around with us that we don't need. I absolutely love that part of this truck. If I was to build another one, definitely would do the same amount of storage, maybe even more. You have a tendency to accumulate. Another thing is the insulation. We have over R40 on the floor. We have over R10 in the walls, or right around R10 in the walls. That makes out to be, we don't have to use the air conditioner much because the truck kind of stays cool through the nighttime. It kind of cools it off. And then through the daytime, it doesn't get very warm. Even in the cold, like when we were back home at the lodge, it has been getting down to like -8, -9 degrees Celsius. And our heater doesn't kick on much. It maybe kicks on, like our diesel heater might kick on 2-3 times a night. It just stays at a comfortable 23 degrees Celsius in there. Great insulation. I don't think you'd need more unless you live in Alaska full time. We have tons of power. This was kind of my idea to do this whole build and all this, and to make my wife's life easier, for her to be able to use every appliance that she pleases at any time without compromise. We have tons of power. We have almost 2,200 watts of solar, bifacial solar. So we make tons of power. We have 15.6 kilowatt hours of lithium. We never really struggle for power. It's winter solstice right now, and we don't get below 65% on a daily basis. Electric showers, induction cooktop, all that. We absolutely love the homey feel. We've toured some expedition trucks that have been built by companies like Box Manufacturer or all these massive European expedition truck companies where trucks cost about €1 million. We didn't like them. Why that is they don't feel homey. They just feel like $1 million. Very glassy. Everything is just made for luxury, but not for use. And most people do not use these vehicles. They maybe travel down the highway and that's it, or they live in it for maybe 3 months and that's it. So we've lived in ours for almost 2 years, and we absolutely love how homey it feels, the design, the colors, the homey feel. It's all there for us. One thing I would never change, and if I was to build another one too, the deck. You absolutely need a landing pad. That deck is pretty much up to my chest, and I'm 6'2", almost 6'3". A deck is very necessary. It is very comfortable. You take off your shoes out there. The dirt doesn't come in with you. Absolutely phenomenal. Slide out deck, absolute necessity, and we absolutely love it. One huge thing is some of the DIY builds, some people complain about center of gravity. I should have put the tank here, the water tank, or I should have put it here, or I should have done this and that. Maybe some of you guys that have been watching along this whole time noticed, maybe not. We put our water tank, one of our biggest water tanks, between the frame rails, and that creates zero roll. You can't feel when you're full or empty. We have another tank that's maybe like, I don't know, 10 inches higher on one side, but it counteracts to the massive fuel tank on this side. I love that because I drive and I don't feel like I'm gonna tip over around a corner because I'm half empty, because that's typically when you're gonna feel it, or anything like that. So absolutely love the placement of the water tanks. Obviously, you always wish you had more capacity, but you know what? Dreams are free. So if you guys have any questions or things that we haven't covered and you'd love to know, we're either gonna proceed this video if we get enough questions, or we're gonna just answer your questions in the comments. So make sure you put your comment in the comments box, and if you got questions, let us know. We know building these trucks, if you are a DIYer, there's a lot of different opinions on how to build everything, but most of those opinions are from people that don't live full-time in their rigs. So let us know, drop a comment of things that you would love to know that we didn't talk about this time, and we'll see you on the next video.